Imagine a Google smartwatch that finally makes Apple sweat a little. Not because of flashy marketing or bold promises, but because it actually delivers. That's what the Pixel Watch 4 represents. The first time Google has built a smartwatch that doesn't feel like a prototype or a promise of what's coming next. It feels done. And that's a big shift. Why does that matter? Because for years, Apple has dominated the smartwatch space by simply being the most complete option. Google's attempts always looked nice but fell apart in everyday use, from weak battery life to laggy apps to software that felt like it was still in beta. Apple never had to worry because nothing felt cohesive enough to challenge it. Until now. The Pixel Watch 4 isn't trying to reinvent the smartwatch. It's simply fixing everything that held Google back. And in doing so, it becomes the first Pixel Watch that genuinely competes head-to-head with the Apple Watch. At first glance, it looks familiar. Same domed glass, same pebble-like shape. But this time, the refinement shows up not in new shapes or gimmicks, but in how it behaves the moment you start using it. The display now hits 3,000 nits, matching the Apple Watch Ultra 3, which means it's just as bright and readable in direct sunlight, but at a lower starting price of $349. Colors pop, text is sharp, and the animations in Wear OS finally feel like they belong on premium hardware, not like they're trying to catch up with your finger. The hardware shift is what changes everything. Google paired the Snapdragon W5 Gen 2 with its own AI coprocessor, and that combo makes the watch feel snappy in a way previous models never achieved. Apps open instantly, swiping through tiles feels fluid, and you never get that sluggish delay that used to remind you that this was a version 1 idea wearing a version 4 body. Battery life, Google's most embarrassing weak spot in earlier generations, finally feels solved. The 45mm model can run 40 hours with the display always on and still handle full sleep tracking without begging for a charger in the morning. A 15-minute charge to hit 50% means you don't have to plan your day around topping it up. It removes the anxiety from smartwatch ownership, and that alone makes it feel like a finished product. But the real story here is AI, not the generic "it learns your habits" claims we've heard before, but a system that actually operates differently. Gemini isn't just on board, it's at the center of the experience. You don't press buttons or bark commands. You lift your wrist, speak naturally, and it responds instantly. It feels like the interface Apple should have introduced years ago. It's subtle, but it changes how you interact with the watch, from something you manage to something that works alongside you. The AI health coach is where Google quietly pulls ahead. Instead of yelling at you to stand or hit arbitrary step goals, it reads your sleep, energy, and performance trends and adapts your workout intensity. Bad recovery? It eases off. Crushing your targets? It ramps things up. No subscription, no upsell, no paywall, just intelligent coaching based on real signals. Apple does this now too, but Google's approach feels less like a checklist and more like an actual personal trainer with context. Wear OS 6 is another major shift. It adopts Google's Material 3 expressive design language, and for the first time, the software actually looks and feels connected to the rest of the Pixel ecosystem. Tiles glide over the curved display with smooth motion, notifications feel polished, and the colors even adapt to your phone's wallpaper theme. It's visually cohesive in a way that older Wear OS versions feel almost experimental by comparison. Then there's something Apple won't like at all: repairability. Google added screws and modular components so users can service the watch themselves instead of tossing it when the battery fades. It's a small detail, but a huge signal. Google isn't just trying to match Apple's polish, it's aiming to outdo it in areas Apple avoids. Looking back, every Pixel Watch release feels like a chapter. The first proved they could design hardware, the second solved basic flaws, the third expanded the concept. But this fourth one, it brings everything together into a product that finally feels confident. Not perfect, app availability is still hit or miss, and Garmin still wins on raw endurance, but balanced, thought out, mature. This is Google's strongest hardware year yet. The Pixel 10 is already turning iPhone users' heads, And now the Pixel Watch 4 shows what happens when the ecosystem clicks. Pixel Phone, Wear OS, Fitbit Intelligence, and Gemini AI all speaking the same language. Apple still wins on tight integration, but for the first time, Android isn't just playing catch-up. In a few areas, it might even be leading. And that's what will make Apple pay attention. Not a flashy feature or a viral headline, but a quiet, confident product that simply works. What's your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments section. See you in the next video. Take care.